3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, my name is Natia and welcome back to Lady and the Trash. Today is the day and we're finally here to talk about Still Together, the 5 episodes long sequel to the GMMTV BL show Together that aired from August 14th to September 11th, 2020. Usually at the beginning I say a few words about the plot of the show for those who still haven't seen it, but this is a 5 episode special, so there isn't really a plot. But let's try to summarize a little bit. This story is set 1 year after the ending of the first season and follows all of the characters and how they're doing in their lives. So we have Sarawat and Tyne living together. Same goes for Man and Type, while Pukong is now officially a university student and is still pursuing Min, who kinda still treats him like his brother. There will be some conflicts, mostly regarding the music and the cheerleading club, and some minor conflicts for the couples. That's it. That's the show. And it's fine, because in 5 episodes, you can't write a complex plot and too many conflicts. Because you will either leave them unsolved or solve them too quickly. So this special series doesn't really have a strong plot, but it has everything it needs. To answer the question in the title, do I think that Still Together fixed the mess that the last 2 episodes of Together created? My personal answer is yes. First of all, if you haven't watched my Together video, go check it out so that you'll know my thoughts about the first season. I did like a huge rant about the last episode and how it almost destroyed everything good that the show had. I was definitely driven by the rage of the moment. In fact, I wrote that video like the day after the show ended. But I still think that my opinions haven't changed. So, as you can imagine, when they announced Still Together, like 1 month after the first season ended, I didn't know if I was happy about it or not. Of course, it was clear that they announced it so quickly because they realized that almost no one liked the ending and they had to fix a lot of things. They probably read the comments and the reviews and they were like, yeah, maybe we fucked up. So to say it in Italian, it was una paraculata, sostanzialmente. I was happy they realized something went wrong and wanted to fix it, but because of COVID and also because they were already late with the 2019 series, I didn't want the already announced GMMTV series to get delayed to make a show that didn't even have a reason to exist if only they wrote a good ending for the first season. So as you can imagine, I was looking forward to it, but I was also pretty mad. But this has no correlation with what I'm going to say about the series, so let's move on. Oh yeah, and I also wanted to notice that I'm wearing the Together t-shirt and it's so cute, I love it. Yeah, let's move on. As always, I will talk about the show freely, so spoiler alert if you considered these spoilers, since nothing extraordinary happens, but yeah. Let's start with a few negative points. They're not a lot, but I don't think it was perfect. So I'm gonna be a perfectionist and point out what I didn't enjoy. My biggest problem with Still Together was Dim. What happened to his character? I mean, he wasn't the nicest person even in Together, but here he was a complete douchebag. I don't know if the screenwriters are the same people as the first season, but he felt like a whole other person. Even though I enjoyed some of the scenes in which him and Green were fighting, mostly over useless stuff, because it was funny, I still found him out of character and too over the top. I mean, I can see Green being this petty and exaggerated. He was like that even in Together. But Dim was so aggressive in an unhealthy way that it made me pretty mad. I'm sure that at some point Green also alludes to Dim forcing him to have sex sometimes. Was that supposed to be a joke? Well, the other negative things that I'm going to say are more of personal pet peeves than something actually wrong or bad, but I still want to mention them. First of all, is it only me, or was the product placement way worse than usual? It's GMMTV, so I'm used to it. But in a lot of scenes of Still Together, I found it so shameless. It was very annoying. The second thing is that they again wasted the opportunity to explore the relationship between Sarawat and Pukong. When they actually interacted for more than 20 seconds in the first episode, I had a glimpse of hope. But after that, they kinda never communicate again in the whole series. We've seen more of Pukong's relationship with Tyne than with Sarawat, who is his actual brother. On the other hand, we had some very cute scenes between Tyne and Type, so at least it was something. The last little pet peeve that I have is that I often found more interesting the secondary characters than Sarawat and Tyne. And in general, this doesn't shock me because I'm always more interested in the secondary characters, but considering how much I loved and found interesting Sarawat and Tyne's storyline in together, I felt a little bit underwhelmed by this one. But I also think it's like my personal problem with established couples on screen. I usually tend to find them pretty boring, so that's not a Still Together thing. It's just my thing in general. But now let's talk about everything that I liked and why. In the first place, the beginning of the first episode was clearly an attempt to fix the mess created in the last episode of Together. Tyne and Wat talking about Pam, or was it Pam? I don't remember how to pronounce her name. Why Sarawat acted that way and why Tyne overreacted. The funny thing to me is that they sounded like they also thought they acted in a very stupid way. So I'm glad they acknowledged it because that mess was super unnecessary and they know it too. Second, the screen time. Was it that hard to divide the screen time between the characters like this, even in the first season, instead of having literally nothing of the other couples until the second half or even more? Of course, it wasn't perfect. Tyne and Wat still got more screen time than the others, but that's normal because they are the main characters. But let's just say that while watching Still Together, every time I started to think, hey, it's been a while since I last saw insert random secondary character name, they appeared. That means that they didn't forget about anyone. While in Together, sometimes characters like Pukong disappeared for like 2 episodes in a row with no explanation. Third, and I would say most important thing, P means character. Breaking news! You can write Min so that he isn't out of character, but still let him act like a decent human being. Jokes aside, I was pleasantly surprised by what they did with Min's character. I was even able to actively ship Pukong and Min, which didn't happen in Together because Min was a piece of shit, basically. I also loved how Pukong started playing hard to get after Min started to reciprocate his feelings. Also, Man and Boss trying to help Pukong was hands down the best part of the show for me. I loved the 3 of them with my whole heart, and I would have loved to see this kind of dynamic even in the original series. And let me add that I really enjoyed how Sarawat and Min started to get along at the end of the show. I would have loved to see more actually. Another great thing was how they created conflicts for the already established couples. So of course I'm talking about Tyne and Sarawat and Man and Type. The conflict is kinda the same thing for both, but the 2 couples handled it in 2 completely different ways. So it was nice to see how different people react to the same situation. On one hand, we had Type getting an important job at the other side of Thailand and not knowing how to tell men. When men finds out, he acts super supportive and they manage to handle a long distance relationship in a very mature way, which was very heartwarming to see. On the other hand, we had Sarawat leaving Tyne for 2 weeks and Tyne acting all tough but secretly missing Sarawat with his whole heart. The scene in which he cries watching Sarawat's video completely broke me, even if I found the two of them so overdramatic, since they had to spend 2 weeks like 30 kilometers away from each other, which is nothing. I mean, it's the distance from my house here to Milan, and I live close to Milan, so yeah. But who am I to judge? It was still a very cute and very sad scene. They didn't make the couple fights over stupid things or randomly break up. Instead, they had to be strong to overcome problems together, and it was great. Last but not least, I found Still Together way funnier than its prequel. The whole conflict between the two clubs, no one realizing Pukong had the most blatant crush on Min, Boss trying to get noticed by Pear, Sarawat and Tyne's squads being iconic as usual. Maybe it's because the show was shorter and they had to condense all of the funny scenes in a short amount of time, but it cracked up way more frequently than Together, in which the funny parts were generally only the ones with Men and Boss or with Tyne's squad. Oh, and how not to mention the fact that we finally got a decent kiss scene between Sarawat and Tyne. Unbelievable. And also one between Men and Type. Thank you, P-Off. I knew I could count on you. In conclusion, Still Together is more of a collection of cute moments between the couples and the characters than an actual story. But that was its purpose, and I actually think that it did what it had to do. I know everyone is already screaming for a second season, but I feel like Still Together was more than enough to give the audience what they wanted without creating more unnecessary conflicts. I think that if they tried to write a full-length season, it would end up having the same problem as the original season, if not more. So if they leave it like this, I will be 100% satisfied. At most, maybe some other like random special episodes are okay, like 1 or 2 episodes, kind of Our Sky thing, but I would rather leave it like this. Sorry if this review kinda sounded unstructured and improvised. It kinda was. I just hope that I didn't forget anything that I wanted to say, but I already talked too much since this is only a 5 episodes long show. So that's all for today. Tell me in the comments your thoughts about Still Together, if you agree with what I've said or if you don't. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!